Okay, so the next poet that we are going to discuss, his name is Alexander Pope, and the poem that we are going to cover is called The Rape of the Lock. That's a very famous and somehow interesting poem that we are going to discuss, but it is very important and imperative that we have a quick recap of what we know so far. Of course, we talked about Spencer, Milton, but other than that, uh, we need to know something about 18th century and its characteristics, and that is what we are going to talk about. And the age in which Alexander Pope actually wrote is also called the age of Alexander Pope. So today we'll talk about certain clarifications about the period in which he wrote, and we are going to learn about Augustan age, which is again the same, the age of Alexander Pope. This age has subdivisions as well. There are so many things within it which are um, mm, divided in certain parts, तो वो clarity आपको provide करेंगे. Although I've already shared a good amount of classes on the history lesson of the movements, but I'm just going to quickly recap everything for you so that you are very much clearer in your mind that how the things change. And then there will be a follow-up class activity as well. After this session, this section that we'll be able to finish, you'll be required to answer these three questions. Okay, so listen carefully, read carefully with me so that you can follow and then you don't miss the class activities. And please understand that if you are not going to submit class activities in the end of the semester, I won't be able to accept it. Timely submit karenge, so that is the only possibility for it to be considered. Otherwise, it won't be considered. Then let's move forward to the introduction. uh, the unit this unit we are going to talk about history of English literature, and we are going to focus on Alexander Pope. Now they are focusing on the age of Alexander Pope, or the age of Pope, and they are talking about how it belongs to the Augustan age as well. Now these two, they are written side by side, their names are written side by side because they are very famous. They have been famous in that age. Now, the period in which Dryden wrote was called Restoration Age, though he is clubbed with Pope as an Augustan poet. So, some of the poets, they might fall into different ages or groups as well. For example, Dryden is not only a poet of Restoration Age but also an Augustan poet. So, such blurring of the ideas, they are available in literature. Nothing is abrupt, nothing is black and white, nothing is leaving a point behind. Every point might have some connection with the future point and the previous point as well. As it is also known as the age of Pope, and also known as Augustan age. Now, Dryden received classical education and was a graduate from Trinity College, but Pope had no formal classical education and he was self educated. Despite being despite being from the different backgrounds or having different exposures, they were poetic geniuses and they had critical insights and they were well versed and received by the masses. And both of them, they wrote about the effective qualities of critic in essay writing and much more. So they are very much discerned during the England's Restoration and Augustan period. Both of them, they are famous for that. उसके बाद जो point है that is important, uh, while both of them they wrote in their prose and essay. They are famous for prose and essays as well, but they are also famous for writing poetry. They are also famous for specifically Alexander Pope because we are talking about him. So अब वो जो हमें बताने लगे हैं, they are going to tell us about the three periods that we need to know. Now they have divided this period or these sections in a different manner as compared to what we have studied in Mario Clarer, but it's the same. They have divided into three categories. First is Anglo-Saxon age, second is medieval age, third is modern age. Anglo-Saxons, as we already know, is it has to do with Old English, and what does it include? The poetry focuses on laws, wills, and other legal works as well. The chronicles, they are focused on biblical translations, sermons, and saints. Yani रिलीजियस sermons यानी जिन्हें मरसिए कहते हैं, सैड सॉन्ग्स कहा जा सकता है, सैड कॉन्वर्सेशंस या नैरेटिव्स कहा जाता है, उस पर बात की जाती थी. Other than that, in Old English poetry had heroic actions and code of conduct, and Christian ideals were also discussed in it. Then Middle English literature में what happened in Middle English literature, we the Norman conquest of 11th century 1066 started the Middle English period, also known as the medieval period. The French, under the leadership of William the Conqueror, defeated the English King Harold. It's the same story that was discussed earlier, that after printing press also came in 1066 after the Normandy conquest, and people were able to publish because they were also very well versed in French culture and French languages, so they were influenced, and their native literature was definitely highly culturally influenced by these background knowledges about French, Scandinavian, and all those tribes who came after it. So some of the themes of medieval English literature includes morality, values, ethics, prayers, meditation, and chivalry and courtly manners. So before this, in Anglo-Saxon period, there was no court, there was no way for people to talk to each other. They would actually attack each other and kill each other. But in medieval English literature, it changed, and so did the language, so did the literature. This was the period which believed in the theocentric view of the world and placed God at the center of the universe. Okay? Before this, before Middle Ages, the center of focus was not God, it was tribes, it was diversified flavors of gods such as heathens, pagans, Catholics, और बहुत कुछ चल रहा था. लेकिन मिडल इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में एक theocentric idea आया. So hence the writers of medieval age used themes related to heroic deeds, love, and religion. This period also saw the lyrical development. It also introduced the audiences with rhythm, meter, and rhyming scheme in the poetry. And Geoffrey Chaucer is regarded as the father of English poetry, and he has been best known for writing the Canterbury Tales. Now, what happens in Canterbury Tales? In Canterbury Tales, we have 29 characters, and they are representing the pilgrims who are going on a religious journey. However, all of them, they are hypocrites in one way or another. They have certain baggages. They have certain um, lies to tell about. The characters that I would like to tell you, the characters that we have, कुछ के बारे में थोड़ा बहुत मैं आपको बताऊंगी. For example, we have there is a nun who's been portrayed as infidel. We have clergymen, we have guildsmen is there, peasants are there, servants are there. बहुत सारे ऐसे कैरेक्टर्स हैं जो कि उसमें हमें मिलते हैं. वो सब दुनिया के लोगों को इसी तरह से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, विच आर द वाइफ ऑफ बाथ इज देयर, द नाइट इज देयर. यानी वी हैव सोल्जर्स, वी हैव क्लर्जीमैन, वी हैव कॉमन पीपल, वी हैव किंग्स, वी हैव क्वींस, एंड all of them are humans, and they have their own vices and virtues, just like the fairy queen and Paradise Lost. This concept of vice and virtue is very much prevalently found in the Canterbury Tales. Why am I talking about Canterbury Tales? Because Geoffrey Chaucer is the prominent literary figure of this age, and he's the prime example. He contains the prime, यानी जिसे कहते हैं ना, मिसाली नमूना है वो इस एज का. दैट्स वाई वी नीडेड टू नो हिम. ऑल्दो बट आई बिलीव इट शुड हैव बीन इन योर कोर्स आउटलाइन, बट इट्स नॉट. तो वो हमने देख लेना है कि आप उसे कैसे खुद से पढ़ लेते हैं. देर आर वीडियोज़ अवेलेबल, थोड़ा सा पढ़ लेंगे तो आपको बहुत क्लैरिटी रहेगी. फिर आ जाता है मॉडर्न एज. ऑफ कोर्स मॉडर्न एज में बहुत कुछ है, बट इन दिस बुक दे आर कंसिडरिंग एवरीथिंग दैट केम आफ्टर मिडल इंग्लिश literature, that is modern English. But then within modern English there are so many divisions available. I'll just quickly read this paragraph for you. With the accession of Queen Elizabeth I, okay, you have to remember that whenever these kings and queens they are mentioned, you do not read Queen Elizabeth I, you read it this way, Queen Elizabeth I. Why would she be called first? Because there was a tendency in all of these dynasties, यानी in households में ये common होता था, that if we have King Charles, तो वो अपने बेटे की अपनी औलाद का नाम भी चार्ल्स ही रखेगा, लेकिन खुद वो चार्ल्स द फर्स्ट हो जाएगा और उसकी औलाद चार्ल्स द सेकंड हो जाएगी। और वी ऑल्सो हैव लाइक डायनेस्टी गोइंग टुवर्ड्स हेनरी द एट्थ, यानी हेनरी ने अपने बेटे का नाम हेनरी रखा और फिर जितने जिस जिस हर हेनरी का जो औलाद होती गई उन्होंने हेनरी ही नाम लिखा। तो इस तरह से डायनेस्टीज में सेम नेम को यूज किया जाता था एंड फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड उनके साथ, यानी हेनरी द फर्स्ट, हेनरी द सेकंड, इस तरह से यूज किया जाता था। सो विद accession of Queen Elizabeth the First to the throne of England, the Elizabethan age begins, which marks the start of modern age of English literature. Elizabethan age is best known as the golden age of English literature. So you see, there's so many other names available for the same age. It could boast um, of a number of great writers like William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Kidd, Ben Jonson, Edmund Spenser. Poetry and drama were at the peak of their reception and understanding of in this age. After Queen Elizabeth, there was a brief period of rule of Oliver Cromwell, who displaced monarchy of Commonwealth, and he also propagated for a republic England, and he wanted to govern it in the same way. This was followed by a restoration age in the last quarter of 17th century when monarchy was restored with the return of Charles II as the King of England. So, history of England moves from 16th to 18th century through the Elizabethan age to Commonwealth, to the Restoration age to Augustan age, through the reigns of Queen Elizabeth I, Charles II, and Queen Anne. So, modern age, in this handout, of course, there are other divisions available. It moved through this point to this. There were so many different evolvements and developments within the age. The change of government from Commonwealth of that of monarchy brought about a social transformation that is well reflected in literature of that period. The Puritan morality that was in force during the regime of Cromwell gave way to laxity of moral earnestness. But this was also the period that saw the rapid development of science and reason. Thus, from early times to 18th century, we notice progress development from heroic ideals of the earlier period to the theocentric views of the medieval period. All they are trying to say is that emotions, imagination, human conditions, they were discussed, but there were drastic changes because of the political, socio-economical changes of that age. Then came finally the 18th century. Now, in 18th century, the first half of the 18th century is also known as the age of science and reason. So you see, there are so many names, so many divisions available within the modern age, and the age of pop is also the Augustan age. It is also the golden age. It is also the age of science and reasoning. And in different books, you'll find different divisions as well. But um, if we analyze them properly, they'll talk about the same things in one way or another. 18th century English literature has the distinction of being variedly described as the Augustan age. तो देखिए इसे 18th century भी कहते हैं, age of science and reason भी कहते हैं, Augustan age भी कहते हैं, the age of enlightenment, the neoclassical age, the golden age of science and reason, the age of prose, the age of satire, the age of political literature, the age of novel, etc. Why? Because in 18th century, in the middle of the 18th century, there were so many changes taking place across England on political level, on personal level, on socio-economic level, and even religiously there were so many changes. जैसे कि अभी अभी ऊपर भी हमने पढ़ा कि Puritanism was there and it changed as well. So even a cursory look at the labels will give us the clue that all that was written had its core to the exercise of reason and logic instead of emotion and imagination. So यहाँ तक, इस point तक, कहाँ तक, 18th century तक, everything was embedded within reasoning and logic, within classical literature, within rules and traditions. And after this, romantic age में इनसे imagination और emotion का proper, of course imagination and emotion इसमें भी है, लेकिन जो properly सारा focus shift होगा वो romanticism में, इससे अगली age में होगा. Okay, it marked a return to the classical age, which laid emphasis upon elegance, beauty, order, precision, and balance, and hence was known as the neoclassical age. It is also known as the Augustan age. So, these are the names that you need to remember while reading. उसके अलावा फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इंग्लैंड अडॉप्टेड अ मिक्स्ड मोनार्की विद टू पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज. अब ये भी देखिए सोशो इकोनॉमिक रीजंस की वजह से राइटअप में भी यानी लिटरेचर में भी बहुत चेंजेस आ गए. दे वर नोन एज विग्स एंड टॉरीज. The only way to reach the electorate was through political pamphleteering. So essay was very famous in this age as well. तो उन्होंने pamphlets लिखना शुरू कर दिए to attack the opponent. इससे पहले जो मिडिवल इंग्लिश लिटरेचर या एंग्लो सैक्सन लिटरेचर में हमने जो पढ़ा है उसमें क्लियरली क्या होता था, मार मार देते थे एक दूसरे को, लड़ाई हो जाती थी. लेकिन इन दिस एज, in the age of pop, what happens is that they started attacking each other through words, and they started using one specific technique to do so, that was satire. Satire kya hota hai? Satire is something that focuses on a social evil and then write about it. That is satire. It's also a genre of literature that can be there in art and performances as well. This is basically irony, a humorous ironic take on a social evil. यानी सोसाइटी में कुछ गलत हो रहा है उस पर बात करने के लिए एक तंजिया, तंजो मज़ा जिसे कहते हैं, दैट इज़ सटायर फॉर यू. ठीक है, इसमें बहुत सारी शॉर्ट कमिंग्स, अगेन ह्यूमन वाइसेस एंड वर्चूज़ की बात हो सकती है, प्रिटेंड करने वाले जो यानी हिपोक्रेसी की बात हो सकती है. सटायर्स दे आर very important part of age of the Alexander Pope. Thus, during this period, literature became a handmaid to politics, and hence, this was the age of political literature. Political debates, political persuasion employed a generous amount of invectives and vitriolics, and the contributed to the rise of prose and poetic satire. अब हमारा concern basically poetic satire से है, because the Rape of the Lock, written by um, Alexander Pope, is a poem written in a very interesting style that we'll discuss. It's a satire, it's also a mock epic. अभी तक हमने romantic epic की बात की है, उसके अलावा epic lit classical epic की बात की है. अब जो ये mock epic है, that is heroic epic, वो थोड़ी सी different, इनमें similarities भी हैं पर differences भी हैं. Hence the 18th century is also known as the एज ऑफ सटायर. देखिए 18th सेंचुरी के कितने सारे नाम हैं, तो ये सारे आपने अभी एक क्वेश्चन भी है इन लिस्ट भी करने हैं. All these needed clarity of communication, science, politics, social etiquette, reason, and logic all demanded straightforward prose that use everyday language. Now, you must be thinking that why are we talking about prose? Because we are concerned with poetry. Basically, they started experimenting with the style of poetry, and the poem that we are going to read, The Rape of the Lock, is written in a certain manner that gives away its meaning in a very prosic manner. Ornamental है, decorative नहीं है, इसमें metrical formalities को अलग से दिखाया गया, तो यानी style totally बदल गया. Thus prose became the handy vehicle for expression employed in pamphlets, scientific treatises, political discourses, and codification of social manners and conduct. On one other notable feature of this period was the rise of middle classes. While the nobility and aristocratic classes were well educated in Latin, Greek, and could appreciate high culture and high art, the middle class wanted something that it could understand, something that was interesting and educative, entertaining and informative. This gave rise to periodical essays, which were light and easy to follow for the middle classes. Addison and Steele are the proponents of this periodical essay writing, and they wanted to bring philosophy out of closet and libraries. And in order to do that, they started two magazines, two periodical journals, the Tatler and the Spectator. And the later one got more appreciation because it replaced the previous one. Yani, the Spectator replaced the Tatler, and they talked about the literary society, and it was most of the contributions came from the British writers. So, two greatest gifts of 18th century to English literature were the periodical essay and the novel. Both genres needed simple, uncomplicated prose, hence, the age is also known the age of periodical essay and the age of the novel. So, 18th century में बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, ठीक है आपने. Then, the rise of English novel. They have simply mentioned Daniel Defoe, who's a very famous name in the realm of novel writing, and in the 18th century, there was this rise that could be seen in novel. Now, we did talk about that in each age, one genre was at its peak. For example, poetry was at its peak from Anglo-Saxon to even in today's world. Poetry has always evolved, but it was very famous in Anglo-Saxon, medieval English literature and Elizabethan age. यानी Shakespearean age तक poetry बहुत famous थी. And in between Elizabethan age or Shakespearean age came drama. Drama was at the peak. And then now in 18th century, the genre that is the focus of everything, that is novel. So certain genres, they might get rise more attention in certain ages, and 18th century is more likely to be known, considered to be the age of novel, the periodical essay and prose writing. So that is what they are trying to share over here, that how uh, the authors, they wrote novels based on certain themes, and prior to that they also wrote pamphlets on political and religious lunacy and problems. They focus on literary trends of the age as well. उसके अलावा they have given a little story of Robinson Crusoe that you can read yourself. I just want to focus on these. There are three major reasons for the rise of the novel. Now, it's really important to know कि novel क्यों easy हो गया और बहुत famous हो गया. For the rise of the novel in 18th century, firstly, many new innovations in printing technology was there. Now, people could easily get it printed. They didn't have to suffer. Secondly, it became public knowledge. It was easy for them to read. Secondly, novels presented something that was interesting and relatable. It was not only about kings and queens anymore, it was about common people even. So, readers were interested. And thirdly, the rise of the new middle age or middle class seeking new forms of reading also contributed to the rise of the novel. The joy of reading, sharing, and discussing novels was a welcoming change for this new class who aspire to behave and act like upper class or the gentry. तो ये changes इन वजह से आए. अब जो आपने करना है, बस यही सेक्शन आपसे मैं बात करना चाह रही थी. Now what you're going to do, you're going to attempt a class activity and these three questions, and please make sure that you only give answers from this reading that I've read with you, so that आप सीधा copy paste मत करें, आप पढ़ें भी. ठीक है. First question is, write a brief note on 3 periods of English literature. यहीं पे मैंने आपको बताई भी हैं. What are the different labels given to 18th century, जो आपको यहाँ से मिल जाएंगी. ठीक है. Or what were the main reasons for the rise of the novel in 18th century. I'm going to make a portal in your class. आपने बस इसको अपलोड कर देना है इस एक्टिविटी को. ठीक है बेटे.